Pitt State President Steve Scott is stepping down from his position. A task force in Missouri focuses on women's issues in the workforce. New COVID cases around the nation have nearly tripled in recent weeks as the Delta variant continues to spread.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Pitt State President Steve Scott announces he'll step down from his position in June of next year. This is KOAM News at 10. Scott has worked at PSU for the past 3 decades, including as president since 2009. In a press release, Scott says he is not retiring, telling the Kansas Board of Regents he's keeping his future options open. He does plan to stay in Pittsburgh and participate at university events. The Joplin City Council finalized a contract for the 32nd Street widening project and approved another one on first reading tonight. Now, earlier this month, Council started the approval process for an $8.6 million contract to fund the widening project from Schifferdecker to Central City Road. Today, they finalized that agreement with Emery Sapp & Sons Incorporated. They also approved on first reading a $520,000 contract for construction phase engineering services for that project.
Some of those valleys were raising up 15 feet. So we're doing some spatial monitoring in the materials testing, make sure there's no settlement taking place over time.
Since this was only the first reading for the new contract, it'll have to be approved again on second and third readings. Checking in with Doug Heddy now for a first look at the weather.
Hey Dal, it actually turned out to be a pretty good Monday for us today. Temperatures not that bad, humidity not that bad as we went to 86 for a high. Average high is 91, so still 5 degrees below where we should be topping out for this time of the year, which, hey, I'm sure you'll definitely take in July. We've had some isolated little tiny showers, not a big deal. And now that we've lost the heating of the day, we have lost most of these little tiny showers that have been across southwestern parts of Missouri. So it's going to be a quiet night for us tonight. Temperatures right now are sitting into low to mid 70s and eventually will drop back to about 65, so fairly comfortable. 78 by 10, 82 by noon, high temp right around 87, so a notch or two warmer by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. But the heat really kicks in as we go through the week. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. U.S. financial markets tumbled today amid growing fears about the coronavirus's renewed spread. Elise Preston reports from New York.
The number of new COVID-19 cases is once again spiking in the U.S. For the first time since January, all 50 states are reporting rising infection totals. Areas with low vaccination rates are being particularly hard hit.
97% of the hospitalizations are in people who are unvaccinated. Most of the deaths that are occurring right now are in people who are unvaccinated.
Experts say the virus's spread has been supercharged by its more contagious Delta variant.
I thought I couldn't catch it, So I just went on by my daily life.
The resurgence is threatening to undo some of the progress made against the pandemic.
We have more vaccines, than we have people, and yet we're not using them. It really doesn't make sense.
A major doctors group, the American Academy of Pediatrics, is now recommending that masks be worn in schools, including by students and teachers who have been vaccinated. Doctors are urging parents to bring their children in now before the new school year starts.
You need to have your first dose, and then your second dose is 21 days later. And then generally what's considered fully vaccinated is 2 weeks past that.
With the Olympics about to get underway, a U.S. gymnast has been sidelined by COVID. Kara Eaker was the first American athlete to test positive after arriving in Tokyo. Elise Preston, CBS News.
Now we're going to have more on the cases at the Olympic Village a little bit later in this newscast. Canada today announced plans to reopen its borders to U.S. citizens on August 9th, but will admit only those who can prove they are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The pandemic changed home and work life for nearly everyone, but first responders were affected more than most of us. We spoke with officials at Joplin's Metro Emergency Transport System, or METS, to see just how their daily life is different. One of the biggest changes they've seen is they're getting more calls, especially from people with flu-like symptoms concerned it could be COVID-19. METS also instituted more protocols for EMTs when they're out in the field.
PPE is always a big thing, so much more cautious with that whenever those symptoms are present. Some of the treatments that we would normally administer. We're kind of holding back on to minimize aerosolization.
Met says they do not administer COVID tests, but do refer patients to area hospitals that will. New COVID-19 cases continue in southwest Missouri as health officials continue door-to-door efforts. A reporter with the Kansas City Star recently followed community health advocates in Springfield. They were going door-to-door encouraging COVID vaccinations. The advocates would tell them of an upcoming clinic, hand a door tag to the resident, and ask a handful of questions, according to the reporter. Questions included, do you want information about the clinic? Do you know someone who does? Do you have any questions about other clinics or the vaccines? The reporter says the effort they saw was non-confrontational and the officials always took no for an answer. Governor Parson has raised concerns about a door-to-door situation. He joined Republicans worried that the outreach could be heavy-handed. A Missouri nonprofit is aimed at getting women back into the workforce and is hosting town halls all across the state to pinpoint issues women face to create real change. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on how improving the workplace for Missouri women could improve the state overall.
Andrea Wald owns the Hello Sunshine Market in Granby, Missouri, one of the town's many locally owned stores. She says as a female entrepreneur, she can get lonely due to the lack of gender representation.
You feel kind of like you're by yourself, and there's certain things that, maybe you're struggling with, you don't have confidence, and just to get that support from especially other women can really boost your confidence.
If more of these issues in the state's workforce relating to women could be addressed and bring more women into the workforce, the state's economy could grow as much as 15% in the year 2025, according to a University of Missouri study, which has led a Kansas City nonprofit called United We, short for United Women's Empowerment, to create a task force that will be leading town halls across the state to better understand issues surrounding women's participation in the workforce. From there, they'll be taking their data to create a strategy to create real policy changes in Missouri. The first town hall will launch Tuesday and will be held virtually.
It's not only what's working, but what's not working in the workplace. And again, whether it's you are interested in starting a new business, but may not have the technical skill to be able to launch the business. So it may be that you need continuing education. And what are those barriers that have been presented to you?
Some discussion points the nonprofit anticipates have to do with childcare, healthcare, and education. Through these talks, the nonprofit hopes to create something to improve Missouri women's workforce experiences.
Really a two-way conversation. And truly, this is just a discussion and an opportunity for women to get together, share what they're experiencing. The end result will be for the good of all women of Missouri.
In Joplin and Granby, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
That town hall will take place virtually tomorrow and is open to all Missouri women. If you're interested, you can RSVP at unitedwe.org. You can also find the link on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, Joplin Police and the FBI investigate an armed robbery at the Great Southern Bank in the middle of the day. Plus, COVID cases are starting to spread through the Olympic Village in Tokyo, as you heard, likely keeping some athletes on the sidelines during the games.
Home Store.
Authorities are looking for a person who was caught on surveillance robbing a Joplin bank with a weapon. Police say it happened this afternoon at the Great Southern Bank at 1232 South Rangeline. According to police, the robber entered the bank, demanded money while displaying a weapon, then fled with an undisclosed amount of cash. Joplin Police Department and FBI are investigating. Great Southern Bank is offering a $3,500 reward for the identity, arrest, and conviction of that robber. Police arrest a man after a stabbing in Pittsburgh happened yesterday in the 400 block of West 6th Street. Authorities say a 40-year-old man suffered multiple stab wounds to the face and abdomen. After investigating, they identified 50-year-old Jose Flores Valles as a suspect and arrested him later that day. Police found he had an arrest warrant out of Crawford County for a bond violation on an original charge of domestic battery. They're now holding him without bond and requesting a charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. The victim in this case was later released from the hospital after receiving treatment. COVID cases are sending shockwaves through the Tokyo Olympic Village with the games set to begin on Friday. A COVID infection has sidelined 2 members of the women's gymnastics team and several other American athletes, including a tennis star. Reporter Lucy Kraft is in Tokyo.
Tonight, fears are growing as COVID infections spread. USA gymnast Kara Eaker, an alternate on the team, is the first American athlete to test positive here. She and another alternate have now been isolated. Since the 10-member team, including Simone Biles, arrived Thursday, they've had daily screening and only traveled for training. Team USA athletes are not required to be vaccinated, and COVID infections have sidelined athletes before they get on a plane to Tokyo. Tennis star Coco Gauff revealed Sunday she was COVID positive, tweeting her disappointment and adding, "It has always been a dream of mine to represent the USA at the Olympics." Today, WNBA's Katie Lou Samuelson announced she was COVID positive and will miss the games. Washington Wizards guard Bradley Beal was removed from the roster last week after contracting COVID. Despite this expanding list, Olympics advisor Brian McCloskey says the anti-COVID safety measures are working.
If I thought all the tests that we did were going to be negative, then I wouldn't bother doing the tests in the first place.
Outside the Olympic Village, where Tokyo appears to be in the grip of a 5th wave of infections, the games remain broadly unpopular. Responding to the sense of unease, major Olympic sponsor Toyota pulled its advertising from Japanese TV and announced its president would not attend the opening ceremony.
COVID is not just impacting the U.S. 2 members of South Africa's soccer team have also tested positive. Ford has recalled hundreds of thousands of vehicles. The car maker announced that it's recalling 775,000 Ford Explorer SUVs. The move comes after reports of 6 injuries related to steering issues in the U.S. The recall applies to 2013 through 2017 models of the Explorer. Ford also recalled nearly 35,000 2020 and 2021 F-350 Super Duty trucks and more than 40,000 2020 and 2021 Lincoln Aviators. Issues with those cars have not led to any injuries. Later, a patient who received a life-saving heart surgery reunites with the doctor who performed it.
Plus, temperatures are going to heat up as we go through the week. I'm going to give you those details coming up.
Prearrangement.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Monday for us today. Temperatures mid-80s, and we've been pretty nice over the past couple days. Of course, we had thunderstorms last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with heavy amounts of rain. But look at the month so far. We're, gosh, 2/3 through. Temperatures in general, I mean, they've been warm. It's been humid, but we've been mainly 80s. Only one day that we have seen high temps into the 90s. Not too bad. It does look like we're going to heat back up as we go through the next, 3 or 4 days. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo just outside Seneca, Missouri. Looks good. We had those cumulus clouds kind of popping up during the afternoon. Gave us a few isolated little showers out there, mainly on the Missouri side. But temps right now into the mid-70s. I think most of us will drop back into the mid-60s a little bit later on tonight. And we do have some humidity out there. It could be a lot worse, but it is also going to start to creep up a bit over the next couple days. So we're kind of in this sticky to muggy zone. Eventually we'll get into this muggy to soupy zone late this week, then heading into the weekend. As of right now, it looks good. 7th and range line, currently 74. Northerly winds are light, feels like 74. Relative humidity at 82%. As that temperature gets closer to that temperature, that's when we'll hit the dew point. So the grass is going to be wet once again later on tonight. Had some isolated little showers across the region, especially late afternoon into the evening. But once we lost the heating of the day, we have lost most of these little showers. Still one little guy, just to the north of Nevada. Very quick little shower, but all these will continue to dissipate as we go through the next few hours. Most of any rain staying down to our south, but really we're dominated by this big dome of high pressure, so it sends the jet stream way up into Canada. We get some waves that rotate around it, but usually a little bit too far east. So the closer we are to this area of high pressure, the better chances we have of remaining hot and dry. And closer it also gets, the hotter we're going to get over the next few days. All right, mid-60s tonight. If you are getting up early, 65 is where we are going to start. North winds at about 5 to 10. As we go through the daytime hours, 81 by noon. And then it looks like we should get to about 87 by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. So maybe a degree or two hotter than what we did see today. At least the heat indices won't be too bad. Upper 80s tomorrow. It is going to feel like it's in the lower 90s by the time Wednesday rolls around. And of course, that number will continue to climb by the time we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, let's go down the road, at least through the work week. There's just not much going on. Big dome of high pressure. You got the monsoon out to the west. Everything kind of rotates around us. Very slight chances we could get a couple showers in here Thursday or Friday. But in general, as we go into Friday, you can see the heat really kicking in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's what we're going to experience a little bit later on this week. 87 tomorrow, 89 on Wednesday. Thursday, 90, 92, Friday, 93 on Saturday, up to 95 by Sunday, and mainly dry.
Once you cross out of the 80s into the 90s, it's officially hot again.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Doug. Heart surgery patient at Freeman Hospital reunited today with the surgeon who performed the life-saving operation. Dr. Jeffrey Lee performed a heart valve replacement on Miles Park back in March. Freeman officials said the operation had only a 2% survival rate, but Park surgery was a success. Today, Dr. Lee and Park reunited to discuss a job well done.
I've always wanted to stay in shape. I've lost 30 pounds, as you can see. It's skin and bones. So I've got a long ways to recover there. I have gained 5 pounds. So I'm on the road. I'm eating like crazy. So it's a slow process.
Parks is currently in cardiac rehab at Freeman, working on regaining his strength. Still ahead, the Joplin Outlaws hit the road to begin the final week of the regular season. Also, Missouri Southern Zach Parrish, he prepares to head south to chase his dream of playing Major League Baseball. Jacob Leonard has that story next.
The Joplin Outlaws are in the final week of the regular season. All of their remaining games are on the road, beginning tonight with a doubleheader against the Chillicothe Mudcats. Game 1 was a marathon, actually just went final a little bit ago. Mudcats, though, topped the Outlaws 3-2 in 13 innings. Former Webb City Cardinal and current Missouri Southern Lion Cale McAllister throws 6 shutout innings in the start for Joplin. Missouri Southern Zach Parrish is about to get his shot to be a professional baseball player. We caught up with Parrish today to talk about a roller coaster week that ended with a free agent contract with the Texas Rangers. A lot has changed for Zach Parrish in the last week.
5 days ago, I kind of announced that I was just going to step away from baseball and kind of move on with the next chapter of my life.
20 rounds of the MLB draft finished up last Tuesday without Parrish receiving the call.
It was a little discouraging at times. I mean, the third day rolled around and, you're expecting something at least, even a phone call saying, hey, we got you on our radar. We're thinking about taking you.
But it all changed on Sunday morning with the Missouri Southern standout agreeing to a free agent contract with the Texas Rangers.
Free agency deal kind of popped up at the last second, and it was like, yeah, I got to do this. All I needed was a chance, and I'm very thankful that I'm getting him.
He's definitely deserving. And, we're very excited as a program, very excited for Zach, and so we're anxious to see him get started.
He was the National Pitcher of the Year this season and set a new Division II career strikeouts record. But what he did on the field was a product of how he approached the game outside the lines.
I mean, after a start here, he goes to the weight room, the opposing bus is leaving, and he's out there working on the football field with our strength and conditioning coach, getting ready for his next start. And so just an animal as far as work ethic goes, and definitely left his mark.
It's that work ethic and competitive spirit Parrish will take with him to Texas, hoping to one day get his shot at the biggest stage in baseball.
The Rangers are definitely getting a competitor. I mean, I love nothing but competition. I strive for competition. If someone wants to challenge me, I'm going to take it up and put my best foot forward, so they're going to get a winner as well.
He'll represent himself well. He'll represent our school well, and Zach's a great pitcher, and I really think he'll do well.
If it works out, it works out. If not, I at least gave it my best shot.
Parrish will head to Texas tomorrow to sign his contract and find out where and what level he'll begin his professional baseball journey. Now, in the majors tonight, 4-game series between the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals getting started this evening. And St. Louis has a chance to get back to 500 with a win tonight, and they do get it done. Final score 8-3. Nice night for leadoff man Dylan Carlson. He goes 2 for 4 with a home run and 4 RBIs. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. David Rice served in the U.S. Army from 1990 to 2002. His hometown, Knoll, Missouri. And we salute Sergeant First Class David Rice. He's a 4-state hero. Where in the country are food fans hot to trot for the spiciest food? Well, survey by marketing research group OnePoll, it says 3 states top the list, saying they are able to handle the spiciest foods. Louisiana, yeah, you might have guessed that, is known for its Cajun and other cultured spicy menu items. It claimed the top spot, 42%. Number 2, Texas, the Lone Star State, but not alone in spice loving. They came in second, 31%. And in New Mexico, spice is nothing new. That state comes in third at 25% overall. 43% of Americans love to test spice limits, but only 15% can tolerate it flaming hot. What do you think, guys? You like spicy?
Well, I like spicy.
Everything I eat is spicy, pretty much.
My brother grows his own peppers, and I think he's burned off all of his taste buds.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy.
He's pretty crazy. The weather.
Yeah, talking about heat, the heat really moves in late this week. 90s return.
Sports note.
Missouri Southern Zach Parrish, 488 career strikeouts in college.
Let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided by